All right, here we are. Today is March 2nd. Noah, how's it going, bro? All right, so version 1.8.3. Hmm? So yes, the Android and the Apple version numbers are listed as different, but it is the most recent version. Yep. So notice it opened up to this. This is something I want to fix later on, but for right now, I just want network functionality. This is like cosmetic stuff. When they open the app again, it should go to the first screen. Also, this is another thing that see, it shows me Super Grill and East, which is down in Morgan Hill, 20 miles away. So that concerns me whether those tables are occupied all this time, which I assume they're not, but still, I don't like it that it does all that. But it might be something we can't get away with. So it does a listing, and the reason so sometimes it will list it differently the first time it lists. So let's see if it's matching. So, oh yeah, okay, cool.
Bento shop is not in there.
Which one? Bento?
Shop.
There's Bento Shop. It's underneath, yep. But now,
Doesn't show here.
right, and it's not on this one. So, what I've learned and found out is a couple things with the location API. So, there's location API, geolocation API, and places API. But before all that, for location API, if you set your radius at a certain thing, and if you ask for a listing of restaurants with whatever criteria, wine restaurant, bowling alley restaurant, whatever, it will list you what you got. If it comes up with more than 60, it filters based on criteria it chooses or for somehow, such as ratings, such as number of dollar signs that it costs, such as hours of operation. It might not list it if it's only a breakfast restaurant and you're there in the evening. So we need to narrow the radius for listing the API for that. The network.
Narrow the radius to what?
I need to make it network adjustable as it is. But the other thing is that if you bring the radius down to say a quarter of a mile, GPS can drift on your location. When you're sitting here, solar flare, power transformer, someone else's Wi-Fi can bump you over, put you on the other street, logs you off. As the waiter with the phone in their pocket, they would not know they got released. 10 customers complaining, they've been asking for the waiter and they're not getting anything. They wouldn't know. So what we need to do is set the location API for the listing of restaurants to be one setting, network setting, and the location API for you left the location as another setting. So that way we can tweak out and figure out what works best. Like we might set the search location API to say half a mile. I doubt we're going to get 60 restaurants in half a mile. But then the location API when you've left to maybe set it 1 mile. Depending on what kind of refill we get back,
Well, ideally, what we can assume though is if the customer is ready to use the application, that they must be at the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need to really go out too far.
And right.
The list itself is displayed based on the closest restaurant to them.
Mm-hmm.
Kache being 1.12 miles away, we know that the customer is going to pull up the app and select a restaurant because they are at that given restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So we should. The restaurant that they are at should be the first 5.
Should be. So that's for the listing. The finding, the populating the list of restaurants in that vicinity, right? So yeah, we don't need that to be very far.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Right.
Plus, what other criteria are you trying to filter?
So ideally, to make that area as small as possible would give us the most accurate listing of restaurants. So there's 2 different locations we're talking about, location API. The listing of restaurants location API should be set as narrow as possible. The you've left the location, that needs to be set farther, like a mile.
Okay, what was it set at previously? We had set it at 0.75.
We've set it,
3/4 of a mile.
Yeah.
And then we also set it at 1 mile.
Yeah.
So we can set it at a mile.
So well,
if the person is more than a mile.
Here's the key thing. But if we set it for a mile and they're in San Francisco, they're going to get more than 60 restaurants.
No, what I'm saying is when they leave.
I know. I know, but if they're so
So if I had selected a table,
right,
my
are you?
customer at this table.
But are you trying to argue the point that we only need one location API?
What I'm saying is the release table function should be a mile.
Right.
That should be the cutoff.
Yeah.
And a mile itself is very far.
Yep.
So
But also,
I would imagine we did, what was it, 500 feet? Is what we did? If I
um,
remember correctly.
yeah, we've done all kinds of different settings, or I have. Yeah. Since I've been able to change it. But so what I'm saying is it needs to be separate because you want one to be narrow, which is for the listing of restaurants. You want the other one to be far to be able to win it so it doesn't accidentally bump them off from GPS drift. And if you make them both small, then it'll say you've left the location and bumps them off when it didn't. If you make it wide, then the listing of restaurants may not be all that accurate. And there's potential of one not being listed.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
Two separate location API, network adjustable.
What is one required to do? What is the first and second?
So
What
the
do they each do?
the one would be to populate the listing of a restaurant.
Okay.
So right now the location API does two functions. It serves to create the list of restaurants, and it also serves to if you left the location. So we need a separate location API for each of those. Both of them network adjustable.
So here's how that would work. It's one API, and we're able to write functions using that API. So there aren't two separate APIs.
We need two separate APIs.
That's not how APIs work. So you have one API that you would use. So location, geolocation API, or Maps API. These are APIs we
You can't have two separate.
We can, but you can't have two separate of the same thing.
Right.
It's one thing that we're using.
Yeah. I mean, currently, right now, we have one location API that is set for both functions.
Yes.
What we need is two separate APIs, one for each of those two functions.
I think to just make it clear,
Mm-hmm.
the first requirement is populate the list of restaurants within a given range.
A network adjustable range,
When you say network adjustable range, meaning
the API. Like we can change it because like I might set it at one thing, say 500 feet or a mile or whatever, and then when it comes out, like that works fine for out in Arkansas, out in a small city that has 3 restaurants. But in downtown San Francisco, where the GPS signals are bouncing off buildings and there's 60 or 70 per half mile, it won't work so well. So I'm going to be adjusting it, trying to find out where do I get the least amount of complaints and bump offs. Yeah.
all I really need is a requirement from you. So
Right.
I'd like a list of restaurants within a given distance. Maximum list should display only 60, more than 60 restaurants.
So I get it. You need something. You need a defined requirement.
Yeah.
And the defined requirement is like right now we have a location API that variable that is a network adjustable variable can be used for two functions. It can be used to populate the list of restaurants, and it can be used for geofencing
Yes.
for when they left.
Exactly.
What I need or want, what the app needs, is a separate location variable on the network, so I can adjust. This is the one that creates the listing of restaurants, and this is the one that geofences when they left.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is
I can type in a different number.
So you can manage this?
Yes.
Okay, so what you're saying is you want to be able to control the distance in allowing restaurants to populate. So for restaurants can be more than a mile, more than 2 miles. So you want to be able to adjust that variable.
It's more yes, but it's not so much mile or two. It's going to be more like quarter mile,
Sure. And you can
0.25,
Yeah.
0.29, 0.3.
Sure, and you
Yeah.
can adjust that. What I'm saying is you want to be able to adjust that.
Yeah.
The other thing is you want to be able to adjust what the kickoff distance is, whether it's 500 feet or a mile.
The log off distance.
Mile. And that's the kickoff
Yeah.
function, geolocation API.
Yeah.
So that's all I want to understand. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
and that will be done from Firebase.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Right. I've added that
Yes.
variable on Firebase so you can adjust.
Yeah.
You want a secondary to adjust the kickoff.
So, yes, I want one for geofencing, call it,
Okay.
when they left, the fence parameter,
Sure.
and then the other one is to populate the listing of restaurants. Yeah.
Okay. So that makes it clear for me
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
now. Okay, so I can add that on Firebase, and then you'll be able to go in there and change either settings.
Is that hard? I mean,
Well, it isn't something I have to create.
okay, but I mean, what I'm wondering is, for cost effectiveness, if it's something you're like, I don't want to mess with that, I can have the other company do it.
Gotcha.
Okay. The Indian company, a lot cheaper.
Sure.
I mean, if it take you 2 hours, great, do it. If it's going to take you like 20 hours, man, let's have them do it. You know.
Yeah, no, it's not going to take me 20 hours.
Okay.
It's probably something that would take me anywhere from, I'd say 3 to 5 hours is what it would take for me to do.
Okay.
But what I want to do though is focus on the core things you actually want me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then we can talk about, okay, let's focus on the meat and then add the fat if you want.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The meat that I have listed here is manager mode.
Mm-hmm.
And allowing multiple waiters to select the same table from that same restaurant.
Yeah. So there's 3 things on the plate. 1 is the geofencing. 2 is the manager mode, multiple waiters, and the 3rd is the table kill from the app to being shut off. They cannot do the app shut off to the table kill from app shut off.
Okay.
So
Are
that
they pinging the server to determine if that waiter is still assigned to that restaurant?
I don't know. I guess so.
So
And
what I was doing is we were pinging the server to see if the waiter is still assigned to that
yeah,
restaurant.
the network was checking with the
Yeah,
device, right?
every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
If it wasn't,
Yeah.
then it would automatically release the table.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we had it set for every 3 minutes. But whatever it was, 30 seconds would be
30
better.
minutes,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah.
Sorry.
But we did change it around too. Though. It was 30 seconds at one point.
Okay.
3 minutes of another.
Yeah. So I don't know if they took that functionality out or didn't know how to get that working or what, but they replied back like, "We've checked and we can't do that." So I'm like, "Okay, great, fun to know." So yeah, that the kill function for power off. I mean, right now, the weird thing is, oops, if you swipe close the app,
Table two should
it immediately releases.
got it.
Same for Android, immediately releases, which is great. Like there is no 30-second, there is no 3-minute, bam, immediate. But if you power off the device, tables are permanently locked. Yeah. Oh, it did power it off. Okay. So the
iOS.
device powering off. Now they had some funny stuff going on with this. What I mean is, when the screen went off on the other devices, it would show those tables as still occupied, red. But 5 or 10 minutes later, when the screen went off, those tables were released, and this waiter would not receive a notification. Then they fixed it where now it did. Matter of fact, I set up the phones at a restaurant, got called into work. 6 hours later, came back, and I have this on video, the latest video. Was still able to send a request. Ping, came up. Cool. All right, didn't log them off. 6 hours. But I also set the geofencing to like 5 miles. So what was releasing them was the GPS would drift, and it moved them on the block. But then when you turn the screen on, it would reassign this waiter to the same tables he had that were released previously. Some weird stuff. You know what I mean? Like, what? So apparently the screen off has a lot to do with the functionality of these. So anyway, so on this one and this one,
You didn't close the app though. You just.
yeah, right now the app is
Still open. Yeah.
what I'm going to do.
Background
So for this one, I have to go to here to power off.
for that phone.
Yeah, for this phone. It's the X. It won't. If you hold the button, it says Siri.
No, it turns off.
No.
Yeah, I think I'll show you.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
What you want to do is you want to hold the top and bottom button.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Sweet. So that guy was table 3,
yeah.
and this
This one's 3.
3. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Still shown as occupied there.
Give it a second. I think it probably takes a while to
Mm-hmm.
pick it up. It's randomly checking every.
So all right. So I'm shutting off this one too, and we'll set a timer. 3 minutes.
But you turn both of them on?
Mm-hmm.
Both 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
How's that 4G thing work?
That works great.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
For international
Necessary. I don't know. I guess so. Necessary for testing geolocation. You know, phones here drive away from a location. They got to have Wi-Fi because they're not.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So anyway, so it'll notify me, and we can look down here and see if tables are still logged off.
So let me understand what additional things I'm adding on here. Um, let me know. These two devices, but on here still it hasn't updated yet.
Okay. All right. Another thing we can do is we can check at this restaurant
Sure,
with
yeah,
these
yeah,
other
let's
ones.
do that too, yeah.
Okay. We're at Bloom, right? Yep. Table's still occupied. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So do we want to wait another 3 minutes just to make sure, or no?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
Busy weekend,
Yeah.
traveling anytime soon.
I wish.
Yeah. Any beautiful RNs you see at work?
um.
I know you got a developer named Noah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh man.
Maybe you,
I thought you had a girlfriend, man.
no, not anymore.
Okay, man. I'm sorry, dude. But yeah, that's all
It's
good.
alright.
Yeah.
It's alright.
Okay. There we go.
Sometimes things work and sometimes things
Yeah.
don't. So it's fine.
Yeah, man. You're a good-looking, smart guy. You good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. All right, dude. So we got to start. We got to attending some of those single programmer events, huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this guy is back on. This guy is back on. This guy is back on. So this table is still. So let's see what happens if they go into that. Table is still. Oh, so now turning on, it might trying to go into Starbucks instead of my Servicetopia. Yeah. How many does that show? 10. All right. Yeah. So actually, so I'm gonna have it come off of Wi-Fi because it doesn't need to be on Servicetopia. It's got its own Wi-Fi. So now these show them as released. They were released once the app came on,
I see. Yeah.
but that's not cool because in the meantime, someone else can't select them until this. Not only they turn the phone on, but they open the app.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So when a device dies, I think initially we had it set up, and correct me if I'm wrong, we had the network checking with the device. Like, you there? Yes. You there? Yes. You there? Null response, release tables on the network. Now, would that, so I guess that network functionality got disabled somehow, but would that interfere with however they set it up for swiping closed? Because,
No, I can I'll look at the source code and see what function that is, and then there it is.
Okay.
Yeah, let's check the swiping again real quick.
I want to make sure this is on. This is not on Starbucks, which I think it's not. But no, it's on Service Studio. Okay.
Same table, no selecting, not selected. Okay. So I did swipe it. Didn't log it on. Until I launch the app back, I think it'll release here. So it looks like that's also glitchy.
Glitchy, yeah. Bloom.
There. This one took a while to release number 2.
Now they're released. Yep.
Yeah. Let's do this again.
Yeah. Let's give it 3 minutes this time. So they're released.
So it is checking periodically. Yeah, I think there's a periodic check that it does. Yeah, so that's fine. The swipe up does release. It's either, I think you should ask how long it's checking. What period of time? Is it every 10 seconds, every 30 seconds?
So at one point when I was working with them, early on, when Table Kill was working, and they got Customer Kill working, and I'm like, do we have to have it for 3 minutes? And you're like, no, we thought you wanted that. I'm like, well, we just wanted that as like to pick a number. But if you can make it work instantly, then make it work. And they did that for the swipe. But then the power off didn't work. So maybe it's an intermittent thing. Maybe there is still a network thing that's checking every 3 minutes or something,
Yeah, we did check 3 minutes plus actually, right?
Yeah.
Release. Let's do this.
Instant.
Yeah, instant. Okay, so that's working.
That's a swipe.
Yeah,
But
so
but now the
you said it was on. You had a list on this phone, or which one did you have?
this one, yep. Ah. Okay. 2 location APIs, one for the listing and one that you left. So power off.
So you want to add a function on Firebase where you're able to
Adjust an API distance for the listing and another network adjustable variable for the location API for the geofencing.
So which one do I have now? I have the distance for lists of restaurants right now.
It's for both. That one distance is both.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or I know it is for the. Yeah, it is. It's for both. Because now, actually, got to be careful on this because it does in the listing. It may list the same restaurants, but in this list, right? Like if I change the network adjustable distance, why is this taking so long? Like if I change the network distance to 0.5 mile, I can select the 4th restaurant down that's less than 0.5. But the 6th one down, which is 1 mile away, it's still listed, but when you select it, it says you have to be located
I
here.
see.
Yeah.
So you want to remove that? It shouldn't be listed. Is that what you're saying?
No. No, I don't want to remove it because let's say the reason,
Just let them, leave them
yeah,
selected, yeah.
because if they didn't enable location on their device and they list the restaurants and it says you're at 5,000 miles away, oh, it doesn't have my location.
Okay. Got it. So the one I have on Firebase right now allows you to select the restaurant based on how far away you are from that restaurant. That's what that's doing.
Okay, and also, yeah,
It allows you to select the restaurant based on your distance from that restaurant.
okay. Does it have anything to do with when you left the location? Like how far?
It does not.
What is that one set at?
That one is hard coded.
Well, what is it hard
If I
coded?
recall what it was set at, I think it was at a mile that we did,
Okay.
or 500 feet.
Okay.
You want a function though where you're able to go in there and change that.
Yeah. So the reason I'm looking like this is because when I did the testing of the app, just 5 or 10 minutes or around that time,
Yeah.
it was bumping. It was taking the waiter off. When I set it to 5 miles, it held the waiter at that location for 6 hours.
And when did you test this?
2-3 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the time when we got into your car and we were driving around camping?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It did kick them off
Mm-hmm.
as soon as they
Yeah.
were at a certain distance.
Right. But what I'm equally or more so concerned of is not so much. I mean, I get it. You're like, okay, as long as they left and they're logged off, yes. Now you could set that as 5 miles or a quarter mile. But if you set it a quarter mile, if the GPS sometimes drifts, like say in the city, like suddenly it puts you 2 streets over, it just logged that waiter off when the device in their pocket that they never can take out.
You'll have this kind of issues, I think, in San Francisco more so
Yeah.
than here.
Yeah, I agree. But probably in the more urban areas where there's more restaurants, that would be more restaurants having a problem with it than others not. Yeah.
So then what are you saying? What you're saying is don't kick them off unless they are a certain distance away.
Yes, but I want to be able to adjust that distance and tweak it. Yeah.
Firebase.
Yeah, because as the app is released, if I'm getting more complaints of being bumped off,
What else was there? Sorry, I didn't know those two. Kill function and phone
I-
strip.
let me see what you got because I know you're going to send it to me when you're done, and I can review it before you send it to me. But
Yeah, so the first two
manager
are-
mode, select all tables, manager mode, select all tables. Manager mode where a waiter can select where the manager can select all tables, get notifications, and allow other waiters to select same tables. Allow other waiters to select any tables they want. In other words, they're not blocked from the manager selecting all
they're
tables.
able to select any table they want
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. But I mean, the reason I say that is because Agile Info is one of the things they did is that if you press manager mode, yes, manager mode selected all tables, but it also blocked anyone else from selecting any other tables. Yeah. So it was like, I guess, I don't know. And then 2 multiple waiters per table, different color or badge, whatever, something that looks nice, that lets them know that there's another waiter on it at a glance.
I'll give you two options.
Okay, yeah,
One
whatever.
would be a counter option, so it counts how many waiters are at that specific
Like a
table.
badge, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a counter function, and it'll be in a badge and show you 1, 2, 3. And
Okay.
It'll determine how many waiters are at that table.
Okay.
So here I'll just do GUIs.
Okay.
Kill function when phone is turned off.
Mm-hmm.
Firebase function to adjust distance for listing of restaurants.
Yep. Yeah.
Firebase function to adjust geolocation. Kickoff function.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I believe, and then you wanted me to create a database separate from the one that Agile's working on.
No. So now it's because they're like, we can't do it, punt. Then I'm like, okay.
Got it.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you guys take a rest.
Yeah.
Let Noah do it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. No problem.
The other guy, Puya, he has already copied the database
Okay.
and made his own Firebase of it. Yeah.
Okay. And that's within the Firebase project? Or,
It's his own. He like copied it and pulled it into his own Firebase.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's completely separate from this one. It's not on my account. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So then I can just go ahead and use the existing database, existing Firebase
Yep, it's all you.
That's great. Saves me so much time of having to
Mm-hmm.
another
Yeah.
project and or another database.
Yeah.
Um,
So now of this, I mean, I think they could do this,
yeah,
maybe more cost effective,
yeah,
two separate Firebase functions. I mean, these two, the network adjustable distance for listing to restaurants and the network adjustable.
they totally can.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay.
totally can. So what I will do is let me get points 1 and 2 done.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Once I'm done with that, you and I can sit together and test seeing these two functions working properly,
Okay.
and then you can pass it to Agile and
Mm-hmm.
say Agile kill
How,
function on the shrink off. Yeah.
they can't do that one.
Okay.
They've already told me we cannot do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
What I'd rather you do, what I'd rather you do is do that one first.
the kill function.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then everything else in the app, as it is now, works. Now I have a marketable app.
Okay.
Then you add the whipped cream and cherries on top that you can do manager mode and multiple waiters. That's good.
Sure. Got
That
it.
way I
So
can have,
will add
yeah,
kill function with phone when phone is turned off.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it works now with swipe. So,
So now it's fine. It does.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So long as so basically make sure the kill function works both with like power
Okay.
off and swipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we had this working in the past,
Yeah.
so I don't think it should be a problem.
Yeah.
And
And that's for both customer and waiter.
yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Um, cool. All right, so I'll work on that then. And then once this is good, we'll sit together, test, and then I'll work on these other two things.
Yeah.
Get that going. Okay, cool. For the kill function, I'm not gonna charge or anything. I'll just play with it and
Okay.
get that working. And then once that's set together, we'll test.
Great.
And I'll continue with this as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I don't see anything additional to charge you because I'm working on these things.
Yeah.
So I'm not creating a database
Okay.
or creating Firebase. All good there.
Okay.
So yeah. And then if I can also add this in there without too much time, I'll also add in there. I'll add that in there without charging as well.
Okay.
So it takes me 2 to 5 hours. It's fine.
Okay. Gotcha.
Put that together.
Yep. But yeah, first do the kill functionality, because right now it sends and receives like the minimal viable product functionality, and I'd like to have that functionality on the App Store. You know what I mean? Because then the other stuff we can play with. That way we can here's the version we loaded on phones, and then the network's working. Then if I got that, like now, like at work, or maybe I can start walking in a restaurant and try it. Because once I got a restaurant or two doing it, when I walk into work, and the guy I work with, that's an investor, who also just bought into gene. It's some kind of gene thing. It's kind of like Ancestry,
Okay.
but it tells you what for your genetics, what kind of diet will work best for you. Diet, exercise, recovery time, blah blah blah. Risk for diabetes, whatever else.
Investment in that.
I don't know, but he bought it. But I mean, he's always, every time I talk to him, he's like, how many restaurants are you using? I'm like, none yet. He's like, fucking anyhow. But if I come in and say, hey, I got 5 people using it now, and I think just more, because my user base just went from whatever to whatever.
Yeah.
Because, they could set an appointment. Let's go see it.
Exactly. Cool.
Yep.
All right, Ian.
Yeah. Okay, great. So,
Get to work on that, and then I'll update you. Should probably take no more than a week to do.
great.
So I'll test it myself and then
Great.
get together.
Okay.
All right, my guy.
Great, dude. Do
Absolutely.
you have phones?
Good question. I do have an iOS and an Android, but I don't mind taking one of each. At the same time, send me the latest source code. The source code you sent me is several weeks old.
Yeah.
Actually, since January, so.
Okay, yeah. That's so, is there a way I can get it to you from GitHub?
So getting me, yeah, that would work. If it's the latest, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, just download it as a zip file and send it to me.
So I'd be able to download them both as a zip file from GitHub?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you want to download it, send it over to me, and work on it from there. Just make sure it's the latest stuff. Okay?
Yeah. So I know you can use GitHub, but you'd rather not, I guess, because it's a pain in the ass or something?
It is a pain in the ass, yeah. Forking into your repo and other people forking into it. My code, their code can rewrite on my code.
They can patch quill.
Yeah, it's just gonna cause me. I tried to pass it. I think. Yeah, so I think it's just better if I have full source code because it's more under my control
Yeah.
than any other development that's on there.
Yeah. I understand.
All right, Ian.
Okay, dude.
Rolling, brother.
Yeah,
Good seeing
I'm just
you.
trying to. I'm figuring. I kind of want you to have all these phones. The only reason I would need them because
I don't need all these phones to test the kill node. I need literally 2 iOS, 2 Android.
okay,
I have an iOS and Android already. I can add an additional Android and an additional iOS from here.
okay.
And that should do it for me to test the function.
Yeah. Okay.
Which Android would you recommend?
Well, I don't know. So the other thing, so when Agile worked on it, one of the things they did, they made it backwards compatible. Supposedly, Android version 6 and up, supposedly, but I've had major issues with 8.
Okay.
And now once in a while, the weird thing is, the listing of restaurants will come up starting at 1.5 miles away. But then you refresh and it makes it. Yeah, so there's some weird stuff.
Okay.
So don't be too concerned. I mean, just be concerned with the power off function and the manager mode thing we discussed. Don't be too concerned about the map stuff. It looks weird because I'm considering hiring the whole location API consulting company, which would ask for snippets of code. But I also think that having 2 separate location APIs, because then I can pinch down the listing of restaurants to minimize the exclusion filter criteria that is applied after 60 restaurants.
Yeah.
And I think it
That's not really hard to do. You just max number of restaurants 60, and it should display at 60.
But I mean, that's your list of restaurants here. That's not the. But see, the thing that is, like, even if you set 60 here or however many you put, the filter that, like, when it's pinging location API, like, what's your query based on criteria is going to give me 60 restaurants.
Well, the only criteria right now is just going to be distance.
But I mean, location API has built into it an artificial intelligence thing that it filters. If the query comes back with more than 60 is what I'm told the number is, it might be something else. Then it filters. Like, it may not display a restaurant that is not supposedly open during those hours. Like, even though you're there at the restaurant, but on Google it had it listed as not open on Sundays or
It
something.
may not display your thing.
Yeah, based on ratings, hours of operation.
But that can all be programmed. It's a function you write to actually say, okay, if this business is closed, display it or not display it. Like, these restaurants, whether closed or open, are displayed.
Yeah,
based on distance. That's the only criteria.
Right, but I really know. What I'm finding out from talking to this, the range that you set has a lot to do with it. I mean, you may not need to put all that programming stuff into if you put the range. Like, what I'm thinking is, right on my first guess, I'd probably put the range of listing restaurants down to like 1/4 mile.
Okay.
You know, or 1/2 mile, 1/4 mile probably. Because then the chance of getting, I mean, I might even put it to like 0.1 mile. Because if it's wrong, you refresh, but you shouldn't have to if it's got your action. Because that way it won't apply. It'll apply minimal or no filters to your.
Sure, and this is where the drifting would come into play. If you are within a 0.1 mile radius, and then you're over there, you're not going to see the restaurant you're actually at.
Yeah. But that's the temporary drift for the. Once this populates a list, it doesn't repopulate it unless you hit refresh. But when you're at a location and the device sees that you left that geofence, it releases the table.
I see.
While the device is in your pocket as a waiter, and you're not allowed to check it for your minutes. So,
got it. Okay. Yeah, we'll play with it. We'll see what we get with that.
Yeah, two distance location things. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, Ian.
All right, dude.
All right, man.
Thanks, dude.
Absolutely.
See you, dude.
Later,
buddy.
Absolutely. Well, good rest of your week. I mean, beginning of the week, right? Monday?
Yeah.
You got it.
Yep. All right, man. Do you have access to the Firebase to
I
play
do.
with?
I
You do.
do, yeah.
Good. All right, great.
Yeah. Also, let me grab an Android and an iOS here. Which Android can I grab?
So this is the older one, which has issues, but it does work. I mean, it works with the current version.
Yeah.
So which?
I think this one might be solid.
Sure.
This is SA plus. Is this one right here?
Either one. You just want one or two?
One's fine. One Android, one iOS. Which one are you not using?
So which one?
This is
Let's
the
see. It's
S8.
Android version 8, and I think this one's Android version 9.
This is the S9. Give me one more iOS. Which iOS can I use?
How about?
Okay. Yeah, rather than take them all, I think I just need
Here.
one of each. Make
There
sure
you
to do. This is the 8.
I think it's a
iPhone 6.
6.
This will work. Cool. All right.
Okay, man.
All right, bud. Take care.
See you later.
Have a good day.
Later, dude. See you.